welcome back to La-Mulana, and before we re-enter the ruins, let's talk to our old pal Zolpud again. He just wants to play shooter games, but there aren't many new shooter games these days. Sad to hear it, mate. So we're quickly going to go and restock on some more weights, because we'll be needing to use these. And then we're going to head back to the Temple of the Moonlight. Because in the last part, we got the Fruit of Eden. And we're now going to use that to enter Eden for real. Because we've been in once before, but we weren't able to make any progress. So we still can't read that yet. So up here is Eden. And since we now have a Fruit of Eden, there's a pedestal, well, there's a dais here that we can put a weight on. So let's do it and enter Eden. Or the Gate of Illusion. So the Gate of Illusion is the real form of Eden. And this place is the most infamous place in the game in terms of the puzzles. This area is exceptionally obtuse, and it's likely where a lot of people are going to get stuck. Simply wandering around will not lessen the illusion. Courage will grant thy wish, the courage to jump into the illusion, the courage to search on bended knee for a single fallen item. So that's actually a hint to the first main puzzle of this area, which I'll give you a little bit of time before I solve it, so that you can try and figure it out for yourself, if you haven't played the game before. Suri mentions that we're going to actually just keep circling around unless we find out the secret of this area. So, there doesn't seem to be anything over there. There is a one-way door though, and we'll be able to see where that ladder goes down to. And this is actually to the graveyard of the giants, so we're able to now enter from here if we wanted. So there are several main puzzles in this area. The main one I'm wanting to solve is opening up that treasure chest at the moment, because it's a little bit annoying. One fool believed in his foolishness, that he was a wise man. The fool flaunted his shallow wisdom and made decisions with a narrow mind. He proceeded to the right without hesitation. Another fool possessed wisdom, but his knowledge led him to believe he was a fool who smothers himself without first considering the situation. He went with the flow and proceeded to the left. One can only hope that a true wise man stands here now. So as a hint that going right or left here will do nothing for us. So maybe we should examine this. There seems to be some sort of writing here, but it's impossible to decipher. And Matt has gotten rid of this floor here. Thy understanding is impressive, wise one. Be thee a wise man or a fool. Thine actions shall reveal the truth, in hopes that thou art a true wise man. So I believe to open that treasure chest we just have to go, yes, along the upper and lower areas. So now that we're up here, we'll be able to access a shortcut by putting this dais here, and now we can go down this ladder. And that chest is now open, however, there's no glow coming from it, so maybe we should try shooting it. And it was a bomb. The true chest is in here, and that contains the map. Fool's Confusion Corridor. So one of the main gimmicks of this area is, as the email suggested, warping. These lizard men are a bit annoying to kill. So if we go here, there's a warp point. The fool will never find his way. So these warps will just continue taking us back and forth. And there's also a warp down there as well, next to where that sacrificial lady's going. But if we go back through here, we'll find this new area, but once again, there's nothing to do there. So then, this is probably where, like me, you're going to be circling this area for a very long time, confused as to where to go. Do you want to know where you go? The hint was previously said to us that we're supposed to check down at our feet all the time. And by that, it meant press down underneath that urn. Yes, this is where the game is going. I don't know how you're really supposed to figure that out without trial and error. So now that we've gone past there, that's the first main obtuse puzzle out of the way that did get me stuck for many hours while I tried to figure it out. A favour to ask of the one who disturbs my slumber. There's something I need you to do for me. If you don't want to, get out of my face. So anyways, the fairy said the treasure I had fraudulently collected. What's wrong with fraud? I love fraud. It seems like the fairies made some sort of giant face swallow the treasures. What better way to make one spit things but pepper? How about it? You bring me back the treasures, and I'll pay you 500 gold. Well, he says that we have to come and give him his treasures. So here's the pepper. And right now we have no choice but to return to the Gate of Guidance. We'll have to return later. So it mentioned a giant face spat up these treasures. There are many giant faces in this area of the game, the Gate of Guidance, and the one we actually need to go to is the very first one we saw. This colossal Olmec head. And here we get treasures. Treasures collected through shady means. There's some drool from the face statue on it. Well, I'm sure it's still fine. So the quickest way to get back is via the Temple of the Moonlight. There is a little bit of a problem with needing to go back and forth at this point in the game, but it doesn't last too long. So this is the quickest way I know of to get back here anyway. There will be a new warp point, but we need to unlock it first. So we need to repeat the same steps that we previously did. Luckily, when you know what you're doing, this place doesn't take that long. It's just busy work. Figuring it out is the worst part. Because once you know this place, there really aren't that many puzzles here. The problem is, though, that the few puzzles we do have can really be obtuse if you don't know what you're doing. There's no need to go on that unless we want to go back to the right, since we can just swim up. My beloved treasures! Gross, it's covered in slimy spit! How dare you get my treasures all sticky! You don't deserve anything more than this piece of junk. Get out of my face. Do you ever come back? What a jerk. But what he gave us was more important than treasure, an anchor. This will allow us to quickly fall down water, and I just jumped into spikes. That was clever of me. So now we can go down this bit of water here, because otherwise it would have pushed us back up. I don't really know of any way outside of luck of not being hit by the enemy. The fool who relies on what his eyes see shall wander the labyrinth for eternity. So we just jump here, simple as that. And now we can talk to this person. Want to become small? Thou art small already. I shall bestow upon thee this mini doll. With this prove that thou art indeed small. So we've actually been given a hint earlier in the game as to how to solve that puzzle. And here, we should put a weight there rather than on that dais, otherwise that will just drop us to the floor below. Extinguish the hole before the one may disappear. This will lead you further down the path of illusion. So the puzzles really, after the initial one, aren't that bad for quite a while at least. So here, there are many daises, and if we start putting weights down, you notice the first one starts going down very slowly. So the trick is just to lower them all at once. And now we have to return back. There is another thing that's going to make us have to return to this area again, but we can actually get the save point to walk here before we have to return, so we're going to go and do that now. So we have to use that mini doll we just got. Equip this to indicate your dwarf status. I believe we go up here, was it? Yes, there it is. We're just gonna go straight up, we don't want to have to deal with that guy. And that allows us to climb that ladder. To the living, it is not too late. Give up and turn back. The illusions will only continue. They all say the same thing. You just have to take my word if that one says the same thing. And here is a breakable wall, so we're going to do that. And while we're in this room, we're quickly going to go and activate this weight, just in case we need to. Can't leave that. Can't leave that. This Lonely House Moving is one of the most useful bonus software you can get in the game, because that activates up most of the others. But of course we can't afford it yet, so we'll have to return for that later. And there's also a fairy point here. Yeah, it's very difficult to jump on those spikes without taking damage. So while we're here, let's have a check and see if we can knock any of the floor. There we go. So as you can see down there, there's a sign of a fairy. So we'll need to get a key fairy to go down there. I commend thee for reaching this place, wise one. Now free thyself of doubt and illusion. So even though there is a fairy point over there on the screen, because of the low chance of getting a key fairy, we're just going to return later. We're going to get it from an easier screen and then warp here to make use of a key fairy. So if you knock these guys with a shield enough times, it stuns them and you can attack them. And here, we finally get the save point. Behold the gate of illusion. The path shall open for the wise. So now that we have that, there are two things we want to do. First off is to go to the Spring of the Sky and get ourselves a key fairy. Sadly, key fairies seem to have one of the most rare occurrences. But if we get an item fairy, we'll take advantage of that as well, and get ourselves some money. Well, it decided to give us an item fairy, alright? So now I get to show you the way you make money in this game. So we summon the item fairy, and then we jump up here, and while in this room we just whip a lot of the time. That wasn't very efficient, we'll use the dagger instead. So we spam the dagger, scroll off screen. I will say right now, if you get at all motion sick, don't watch this minute of the gameplay footage, because once the light fades and you stare at the screen while it walks side to side, I have felt quite queasy doing that myself, and that's while I have control of the game, so this isn't a moment that I would say to pay a lot of attention to, because we're just going to be doing this for a solid minute. We're not getting as much money as we could get, because we will get an item, one of the treasures later in the game, where we can destroy boxes like this with one hit, which will massively increase the speed at which we do this. We will be able to get enough money from this at least to buy that Lonely House movement. So I plan for this part to be quite lengthy with the amount of things we're going to have to do, and considering how long the previous part was, this might be quite lengthy. But the plan is to kill one boss per episode. It just so happens to be that the next boss, well, the next two bosses have quite a lot of distance between them. Right, so that's the last use of that fairy. So now we're going to go back to the spring in the sky, and while we're here, we're going to reset the game. Then we're going to continue, and it will immediately load us here. The difference is that since we unloaded the game, the fairy has now respawned, so we don't have to wait for the new fairy to appear. It is rather cheap, but at the same time, the problem with money in this game kind of comes from something they didn't fix from the original. From what I've heard, I haven't actually played the original game, all of the urns that you destroy and boxes that you destroy that usually contain money will always contain a large amount, but in this game it only contains a large amount the first time you destroy one. So I'm at least thinking that's the reason for the additional money problems. So as a result I have no problems with using the item fairy to get all the money I want. There will be a software we can get, I think actually in this part, or maybe the next part, that will allow us to permanently get the fairy that we want. But this key fairy is very useful because it's going to give us a valuable bonus treasure that we don't actually need to complete the game. Here we go. Come to Papa. There we go. So now that we've got this fairy, we'll return to the Gate of Illusion, and hope we don't die, because our health is actually alarmingly low. I probably should have healed. Oh well. We're just going to have to be careful and try not to kill ourselves while falling. Which is easier said than done, because we've got to just drop here. There we go, that worked. And now let's use a shield. Jeez, that is a lot of damage. Right, but the fairy has unlocked that. So we're just going to return to the surface. Our fairy's done her job, and we need to go and get healed. So while we make the return trip from getting our health increased, I may as well talk about what we're going to be doing on this episode. So we're going to finish the Gate of Guidance, and then we're going to return, just resting in this hot spring here, to the Corridor of the Endless, because we're going to be allowed to actually make progress there now. Or rather, at least when we finish the Gate of Illusion anyway. And once we go to the Corridor of the Endless and solve some of the puzzles in there, we'll finally be able to make some good progress in terms of being able to enter the Shrine of the Mother. And here we get the fairy cloves. These duds have been infused with fairy power, cuts the damage the professor receives in half. Yep, so we basically have double our health now, which is very handy. So with that said, it's time for us to actually start making some progress. Now keep in mind that all these areas we're going through are the mirror opposites of the real areas, which means this comes out in the Gate of Guidance. Remember this room? Now we can finally lower that and collect the treasure. Because previously, if we opened this, these spikes would have just come out. And now we get the Yagu Map Street. So the Yagu Map Street increases what we can see on the map. So now we can see all the locations on the map itself rather than just the map layout. And that's actually going to be useful for a puzzle as well. So we're just going to warp straight back because it's quicker than actually just going back up there. We could probably cut a bit of time by jumping on those spikes. This will just take us back up to the entrance of the illusion. However, this will allow us to unlock those spikes, and this. Can't read that. So if you noticed, in the room we actually went back to, it mentioned something about somebody who got power from sacrifices. And this will stop that person's sacrifices forever, because we're a good protagonist. He who reads the stone tablet, art thou a wise man or a fool? We must hope that thou possesses the wisdom of a wise man. Well, okay, somehow, okay. Thanks for proving me wrong, random person who decided to sacrifice themselves despite me saving you all. She just went straight through that. So now we return to the Tower of Ruin. And by entering this side, we can make some more progress. It's not that much progress, it's just opening up a shortcut and a map. But it's still something. For now, what we actually want to do is to find a way down here. So if we examine this, it will tell us, be a little man, only the small shall proceed. Well, we have this mini doll here, but it doesn't do anything. This is another part where you might get stumped on the answer, so I'm just going to show you. We've given enough time for you to learn it anyway. We return to the Mausoleum of the Giants. Because, if you remember up here, there was a tablet that we read. The mother was great, she made even the giants look tiny. The giants were great, thou art tiny, like a little doll. So that's a hint that the giants are bigger than us, for obvious reasons. Which we just so happen to have to know means you use the little doll while standing next to a statue of a giant, and that solves the puzzle. Zelpud on the surface does give us a bit of an extra hint to that, but it's still quite a puzzle, if you're not aware of what you're supposed to do. There we go. It's always a little bit iffy activating that. Those who do not listen do not make light of the words of others. To come so far, blinded by pride, at thine own powers, thou art a true fool. A fool deserves naught but death. So this is the Chin Yi guy that was mentioned in the Gate of Guidance as the person who the sacrifices were going to. So if we hit his shield enough times, we'll be able to hit him above, otherwise he'll just block our attack. So we have to stun him and then attack. But with that said, he can still just be really cheap and hit us with the shield, while we're trying to stay within range to attack him. The axe is better for this, but you can't hit as many times with the axe. We're going to swap to the axe anyway and look how it does. Because the problem with the axe is it's got a very slow attack speed. There we go. You know what I should do? I should keep standing here. Yeah, thanks game. If you're wondering, did that kill me the first time? Yes. Yes it did. Of course it did. And it's actually an achievement as well for standing in that and getting killed. So here is another one of those developer rooms. I believe we found 2 of them so far. So now we have the fabled Key of Eternity that unlocks the Endless Corridor. So it's time for us to go back to the Endless Corridor. Actually, before we do that, I just remembered there is one more thing we should really do, which is to go to the Graveyard of the Giants. Because if you remember what I just said, the axe attack speed is very low. And that reminded me, there's one more item we can get now that we have that seal. You see the seal over here is glowing, so it's time for us to go and get it. Because that item is going to be very useful. And it basically makes the axe usable, because in its current state it really isn't a very good weapon. It's powerful, but the recoil and wind-up time is just ridiculous. Luckily with double jump we can just bypass that area entirely. And with a mix of double jump and the ability to leap off walls, we can get the Gauntlet. And that is increased attack speed with every weapon. There we go, armour that is said to belong to the god of weapons, increases melee attack speed when equipped. You may have also noticed we're getting very stocked on our items now. Like I said during the first part, the game starts off very slow with the amount of items you get, but it does snowball later on. Because we're still only on, I believe, the 6th part now. There's a keyhole beneath the diagram that signifies endless. So now we can enter this new area. Men are born of a mother and live their lives. They reproduce and reproduce, hoping in the mother's ascension. Go forth along the path that man is destined to walk. So that is a hint towards another puzzle that's related to the script of La-Mulana. Script in terms of the actual text itself. And I didn't mean to enter that, I was just trying to kill the enemy, so we're going to have to reset. So the puzzle here is that we have to go past these rooms in a specific order. I actually brute forced this on my first try without meaning to. The order I actually have to do is to, well, the basic order is to go from 1 to 9. But the only ones we really need to worry about are the scripts that would just correspond to the text we just read when it said things like birth and reproduce. So to start with, we want to find the Z. Oh, also, while we're in this room, you may notice there's one of these holy objects, but there's no eye. So we're actually allowed to just destroy it and get the key sword. sword whose centre is shaped like a key. It is difficult to use and does not deal much damage. That is the worst weapon in the game, but there is a twist to it, so we'll be coming back to that later. So first off, we're going to go past the Z, and then we're going to go past the Y, because those are corresponding to the numbers 2 and 3, and yes, I wrote this down just to make sure I remembered. We can go past the percentage sign because that isn't an important one. The percentage, by the way, is the number 8. Go past this number 3 here. And then we have to find the guy. That's it. The one that looks like a guy anyway, to me. I don't know. It looks like a guy waving in the air, dancing. Run through with all thy might, or rely on the wisdom to find a way. Thou choosest thine own path, now place for wait. So in a previous part I mentioned that basically every time there's a fairy point, there is usually a place to use a key fairy. Warning, do not look in the sun with a magnifying glass. But this is the one exception to that, or at least one of the main exceptions. There isn't a place to use a key fairy here. So the main gimmick here is that we need to clear a path to be able to run in a short amount of time to make it to the exit. So the main idea is to kill all the enemies on the way so you have a much easier time of doing it. Because we have about 15 seconds to reach there. However, like it said itself, you can also use wisdom, which means that there is actually a trick to this area, because it's very difficult to pull off and it's basically millisecond perfect. There is an achievement for it, and I did do it, but it took me many attempts, so I'm not repeating that. So the trick is to find a shortcut, and there's one right there. I would do the normal way, but it'll probably take me about 30 minutes of recording to get that done, so it's not worth it. And here we pick up the twin statue. The stone statue of the legendary twins. It can break the seal of the twins. Now if you remember back to the third boss, when after the minecart boss, we ended up in that poisonous area. I guess I should go and read that. To the one who toils for naught, thou art foolish, thou art foolish, thou art foolish. Yeah, whatever. Jerks. So when we ended up in that poison-filled area, we weren't able to do anything because the seal of the twins was still active. So even though we had the speed of Hermes' boots, which was the key to the puzzle, we didn't have the second key to the puzzle. And now, we're going... Of course, the one time I want a healing fairy and you don't give it to me. Thanks, game. There we go. So we could go to the Twin Labyrinths now, but there's one more thing we need to do while we're down here. Endure the endless trials. This one, I prefer to just brute force it. You're supposed to take your time and avoid all damage, but to be honest, as long as if you've got a healing fairy, you can kind of just brute force it for the most part. I still waited there because I started with very low health. And no matter how much a fairy heals me, it can't heal 0 HP. So if we fall down here, that will teleport us back up, so obviously we don't want to do that. And here we just need to brute force this. Because if you wait too long, I'm not sure if it's intentional or not, but some of those things that try pushing you upwards gets completely stuck and doesn't go down and you have to reset the area. I don't know if that's intended as a time limit or not, but it's kind of a jerk move. Oh, bye healing fairy. And this is the final area. The one-eyed and hundred-eyed shall appear. Return with the one-eyed, and the hundred-eyed shall lose its strength. Beyond that lies everything. And that activates a mini-boss that will stop if we look at it. It's currently invincible and we can't damage it, so we need to return. We can break this here to get a little bit of extra movement. So while we kill things, we're just going to try and spend as much time as possible looking at the mini-boss, so that it can't speed up too much. And here is the 100 eyes thing I just mentioned. So we heard something break off screen, so we have to return. To the start, so we just have to make sure we get past the mini-boss. Just keep looking at it so it can't make any progress on us. And then we press this other one. And now we can attack the guy. You can see he's got a darker colour. So attacking him is kind of awkward. You have to let his eye go big enough so that you can whip it. There we go. And we should have enough HP now. Actually, we can get a full heal if we manage to kill one of these enemies. I don't understand why those little headless horseman things can sometimes be invincible. Well, now we definitely need a heal. There we go. That was very needed. And of course I fell. I can't kill it, I just have to run. Otherwise I waste too much time waiting for it. And now this thing has lost its coloration, and we can attack it. I don't know how you're meant to kill this thing, and the only way I found to damage it is to go inside it and use a dagger. I don't know any other way of killing this thing. Like, I'm positive I'm doing it wrong, but I haven't found another way, and it's convenient, so we'll do it anyway. So now it's time for us to finally enter the Shrine of the Mother, for real this time. We entered this place previously, but we couldn't do anything while we were here. Only the chosen may proceed. Oh, I forgot that one went right into the spikes. Endless and dimensions. Tiamat distorts the two laws with her strong powers. And Thespina's wedge. We'll learn about the wedges later because they're a vital part to beating the game. But you'll notice that this area basically has different rooms for each of the bosses. Like that is the third boss we fought over there. Kalek, was it? Something like that. I keep forgetting that one's name, I don't know why. So let's continue exploring this area. And here is a treasure chest that is sealed by all 4 seals. We've only got 3 at the moment, but we'll return later to fully break that. And here, there's something there, but this thing is blocking the way. So we can't really do anything here yet, but to begin with, our main goal is to basically get the save point here so we can walk down. Because this place is vital for some of the upcoming things. Now then, there's a treasure chest here, and the only way to actually open it is to hit it with ranged weapons. Yeah, I'm not a fan of that because that's kind of a jerk move. Software these days is amazing. And here, he wants to play some Nagaro games. I'm already playing a Nagaro game, mate. Oh yeah, it's worth noting if you examine this. There are human skeletons hanging here. It looks like they have wings. So if you remember from some of the tablets we've read, it mentioned the different types of children that the mother had, and how some of them had gills and some of them had wings, things like that. The mother holds the power of life. This power shall show itself when the soul is shattered. This is the secret treasure of life. We are going to say that because that is our quest. We are after the sacred treasures of life. There is Baphomet's wedge. We haven't actually fought that boss yet. That's actually the boss we're going to fight in this part. And there is Vi. And up here is the save point. That's what we need. Behold the shrine of the mother. This is where the mother sleeps. And here we have another mini-boss. We can't damage this guy yet. So he's just there to taunt us by just floating there being unkillable. So that's all we can really do in that location, so now it's time for us to head to the Temple of the Sun. Because we're going to go back to that area that we previously couldn't make progress in after we killed the boss. Because now we have the statue of the twins. I'm waiting for one day one of those guys to just jump down this pit. So, unlike the last time we were here, this time this door's glowing and we can go through it. So we need to place a something on the dais there. Then we have to enter the first area. And once again, we have to place a weight on this dais too. And that solves the puzzle. The statue of the hero and twins. A statue that portrays a winged hero rescuing twins with a snake's body. So now that we've done that puzzle, we have now unlocked the Twin Labyrinth, which is the main area we're going to be going through this time. And like the other areas we've gone to, our first step was a pedestal-like object drawn beneath a volcano. Front and back. Where there's a front, there must always be a back. Like with the previous place we've been to, our main goal here is to activate the warp feature as soon as possible. Which we can do right here. Behold the Twin Labyrinth. The souls of the twins dwell here. Black onyx means along, purple amethyst means sincerity. Eloquence, maybe? That's a weird word. The meanings are infused within the gemstones. So there's one more thing we want to do here before we head out to actually go and explore something else. And that's to re-enter this room, because now there's a ladder. And this ladder leads back to the Shrine of the Mother. We can't make any sense out of that. And we're completely out of weights. I knew that would happen. I wasn't paying attention to my weights. We're going to quickly go and replenish our weights. Gonna buy 40. And I also forgot to buy the move software. Man, I am making a lot of mistakes this time, aren't I? So before we do anything else, we're going to go get the move software, because that we will now actually be able to use. There we go. So you can see that move costs quite a lot. It currently does nothing, but if we also equip Death Valley, the two light up. So let's see if we can actually use that software now without sacrificing too much. There we go. We'll just unequip this for the time being. So what Death Valley does, while alongside the... Let's see, where are we going this time? Twin Labyrinth. What Death Valley does alongside Move.exe will mean that we now get about twice as long invulnerability time, or at least a little bit longer anyway. And that longer invulnerability time is going to allow us to basically just tank a lot more hits in general. So you'll notice here we're glowing for a lot longer. So there's going to be a few software like that that basically just make us more powerful in general. And here we get the much needed map of this area, and that object that tries to crush us. And using this map, we can enter the Shrine of the Mother. Because if you remember, one of the puzzles was telling us about how we needed a map of this area to be able to get this dragon statue. This dragon statue doesn't actually appear until you collect the map. But what that does is it completely unlocks. I'm just heading to the surface. I think I actually first need to talk to this guy about the talisman. Yep, our father went missing deep inside the ruins, and he's saying we should look for a diary. We saw a guy in the ruins that looks like our father. The reason why I had to go back then is because it's a little bit unclear what exactly triggers the following cutscene to take place. Well, I say cutscene, there aren't really many cutscenes in this game. There are only actually 2. Unless you count like the after boss kills. So now that we've collected the talisman, and we've unlocked the Shrine of the Mother by putting the dragon skull on, we'll see our father. Of course our father's quicker than us, so we don't even have a chance of catching him. The land washed over by 8 spirits, with 8 spirits being the guardians. And this time, there's a treasure chest up there that wasn't there before. And now we have to return to the surface. This bit's a little convoluted. Did you find the diary? The treasure chest in a hidden place that you can't get to? I see. Your father's a smart man. Must have got a good handle on the traps of the ruins. Okay, got it. Let me figure something out. Then if we return, he's gone. Okay. Now we return to the Shrine of the Mother. This is, I believe, the last time that you have to do this type of puzzle. Like, there's a lot of back and forth, but not in terms of talking to somebody just to trigger the next event. And yes, I got stuck on this for a long time because I thought I had done everything, but I didn't talk to him another time. It was really annoying. Accidentally got hit. Luckily though, we have increased invulnerability frames. And now, Zelput to the rescue! He gets crushed, but he's too much of a man to die. So Zelput will just keep this open for us, because he's awesome. I love that so much. Like, they could have done anything to get in here, but they decided, screw it, let's have Zelput. So now if we return to the surface with the diary... What's with that face? No need to worry about me, I'm an invincible old man. And now we get a bit of a plot dump. We are descendants of a race who sees the departing off. We are the 7th children of the Mother. We are the ones who sent off the last race to spring forth and thrive in these ruins. Or rather, the Mother. That's you. The last race, the 8th children, the humanity of present day. We are in charge of sending you all off. All of mankind and civilization were born here. Take this, the La-Mulana talisman. I feel that if you have this, you can get your hands on the cursed treasure. Well then, go see the 4 philosophers in your father's stead. So he explains at least what he's doing here and why he knows so much. So we now have, instead of a diary, the La-Mulana talisman. This will allow us to loot a couple of treasures we couldn't ordinarily get. One of them, of course, being in the Shrine of the Mother. So we return yet again. Yeah, this mini-boss is kind of just there going, are you serious? His name's, it's Thingy, isn't it? Beelzebub, yes, of course, that's the one. Because he's made out of flies. Yeah, he's just watching us go back and forth, and he's like, are you really doing this? You, the 8th child, is just doing like a delivery service now. So what we're after here is to enter the previously locked off area, because since we activated the dragon statue, it is unsealed the thing that was previously blocking us from going this direction. So now we can enter. We'll examine that later because we need to use the talisman first. So we'll break the seal and activate this, and with the talisman we can get the crystal skull. And now we'll go back to the hand scanner. So the crystal skull is another usable item. The crystal in the shape of a skull, use it in a certain place. The philosophers reveal the path only to the chosen one. In these depths dwells a great spirit. So we've done everything we can in the Shrine of the Mother at the moment. We'll return later when we have the additional room. So for the time being, what are we doing again? Twin Labyrinth, that's the one. So for convenience, I'm going to go over here and activate something. We don't have a map for this area yet, it's a rather convoluted area. The demon altar is where the witches gather to summon the demon. The demon altar is a place of prayer. 2 witches, black and white, call forth Baphomet. Or Baphomet, I don't know how you say it. The right hatch is scored, the left hatch is Verandry. Actually, let's check. How do you spell it again? Baphomet, I believe. Baphomet. Whatever. So we can stand atop the navel of Neptune, which was something we saw previously. And here, for convenience sake, we're going to activate one of the other areas of the game. The Dimensional Corridor. We won't be returning here until the part after the next one. But for the time being, we're just going to enter to get the waypoint. Because there's a certain gimmick to this area that stops us making any progress. The whole of the Dimensional Corridor, a closed off space created by Tiamat. So that if we go into our pause menu, you'll notice we can't actually use the Holy Grail while we're in here. Tiamat is stopping us from using it. So this area is currently sealed up and we can't really make any progress. Of course, that's the alternate side to the Endless Corridor. I keep getting confused by which entrance is which in the Twin Labyrinth. Because there's actually 2 waypoints that go to the Twin Labyrinth, because this area takes up both the front and back. Because it's confusing like that. We are doing very bad on our health. Oh, I was going to go back there, but obviously we can't because it's now blocked off. Because I noticed there is a readable tablet. The Ankh is always in the front. When they'll find the right spot, think carefully on where that spot is. The Dance of Life. That is very important and we're going to keep that on record. There are 3 swords to the left, 3 swords to the right, and somebody jumping in the air. So let's just keep that in mind. We need to go beneath us if we're going to access that treasure up there, so we'll return to this later. And you may remember this room. This is one of the rooms we previously accessed. I think it's actually just quicker if we walk back to the Twin Labyrinth at this point. We should take the waypoint. This area is very confusing, which is why I said I wanted to handle the dragon skull earlier. There are 2 other entrances we can use to enter this area. Here we go, we got the map finally. So as you can see, this is a really big area. We can also see there are 2 down arrows at the bottom. So what we're actually going to do is go to the Inferno Cavern. Actually, it'll be quicker to go to the Temple of the Sun. So we're going to enter the Inferno Cavern from this direction, which I believe is quicker than actually just going up from the bottom. Or at least it would be if I stopped getting hit by things. There's the Lamia dragon. I was going to say giant statue. So now let's re-enter this location. And immediately get hit. That was quite unfair, game. The Demon Lord of Hell, Beelzebub, he who guards the 8 souls of her mother. Or Beelzebub, you know, whichever one you want to say it is. Now, this harpy is so annoying. I'm trying to get a healing fairy game. There we go. Because our health was dangerously low, but now we'll get full health. It'll take longer just getting back to this area, so I'll solve one of the puzzles now, which is to shoot up here. Well, to shoot up here. There we go. We're going to see a tablet soon enough that will tell us about how the twins want to see the light. And that basically just means shine the flares on them. I think it's actually this one right here. Yeah, reveal the light to the grieving twins, reveal the light to a world destroyed. The hero confers light upon the twins as they hold up the world. So that's just a hint towards using the flares on the twin statues that are holding up the place. Now, these enemies that are on the ground are really annoying. 5 witches plus 1 more will gather, at which point Baphomet will be summoned. Oh, right, we can't go that way. And here we access the other waypoint in this location. Behold the Twin Labyrinth, the souls of the twins dwell here. Yeah, we need to use like either the axe or the dagger to hit those things that are on the ground, or waste some secondary weapons. I'd appreciate it if you stopped lagging, computer. And here is the other twin. There we go. The Big Brother shop is a more exclusive clientele. The Little Brother shop is for regulars. That's a hint towards that annoying issue of needing to spend 100 coins in the Little Brother shop. The bracelet. The bracelet is a very handy tool because it allows us to smash pots in one hit. And that's one of the tools that we needed to quickly decimate The power to stop time, for thine eyes only will time flow. Even things too quick to be seen will become visible. Which reminds me, we have to go somewhere else before we make too much progress here. Because over here, there's a puzzle. Actually, no, there isn't. That's another area entirely. Okay, then. Then let's solve this puzzle first. We have to jump from high enough, so just fall flat on our face onto this lift to activate it. This is a very easy boss, it just has a lot of health, and it summons those little guys, but it doesn't actually attack us on its own. There we go. And now, remember this room. Let's enter through here and activate that treasure. So we tread on one thing, we tread on another, and there is a samurai sword. And now we just stand here until we fall. So here, there is a breakable wall. I should just swap to a different weapon. And here are some witches to kill. But if we keep in mind the two things that we've seen so far about the witches, it mentions 4 + 1 witch. Zu has the face of a white knight, king of the beasts. He imprisons the Ang. Kraton brings with him blue shadows. He shall open the place of meditation. Let's just get past this glitch. So it mentioned that we need 4 + 1 witches. We're actually going to leave this one alive. This is the only time in the entire game you have to do this, by the way. It's not a recurring feature, which makes it kind of easy to accidentally miss. So we could go and fight Baphomet now, because all we need to do is go to the opposite location of the one we just went to, and we'll activate the boss fight. But there's a hard mini-boss on the way. So what we're actually going to do is get an item that will allow us to beat that mini-boss with ease. Which means we have to actually go to the one location we haven't fully explored yet, but we have been to. Because if you remember, there is one location in the game that we had a very brief visit to that was completely pitch black with no music whatsoever. And after defeating Vi, which we did in the previous part, it becomes accessible. Even though with that said, there is actually an alternate way to make it accessible that requires some exploiting. And there is actually an achievement towards getting it as well. So let's enter this unknown area. The Tower of a Goddess. So this place has both the best music in the game, and is also the place that has been constantly mentioned throughout the game. This is the tower that the giants tried to construct and send to the heavens. Well, luckily I was still invulnerable, so I didn't take retribution damage then. None shall trespass upon this forbidden land. The place hidden further ahead holds many mysteries. Fly with the golden wings. That hints that we need the double jump to make any progress. So you may notice the Tower of the Goddess is clearly a very high-tech area. The Magmata Jewel is the key to the enchanted Matra. That's important for later. We've been getting several hints throughout the game that not everything is all old-fashioned and the like the Tower of Ruin clearly had a lot of mechanical features. And this is kind of the ultimate example of that, since this place has got monitors in the background and everything. So here we get the map of this area, and as you can see there are 2 towers to go to. And that's the main goal of this location, is reaching those towers. The lake created by Magellan and Futo. Weebu carries the water to the tower, the place where the finger points, and Unaki refuses to gaze upon. So, that's actually a hint towards a very obtuse puzzle in this game that we're now going to go and do. The hesitation in thy heart is an unseen wound. Shine upon it with the eye of truth. Those climbing the tower never turn back. Abaku attacks an instant. So there is something invisible attacking us here. Hopefully that eye will come into range to attack, but I guess not. Let's swap to the shuriken and attack this wall. Examining this merely mentions it's a stone tablet carved with La-Mulana in writing. Scan the image to have it translated. Well, he just scanned it then, but it didn't do anything. What we actually need to do is to go into our software, get the Teru.exe, and this will activate the scanning software. A lone snake stands upon spikes. It is the snake that protects enchanted words. It protects the enchanted words hidden by the giants. So that will be important for later for another puzzle. And right now I want to say, this is one of the biggest puzzles in the game, but it's unintentional. I never got for like an hour. These girders are ladders. I don't think that's a puzzle. I think I was just a complete idiot that I did not get that. Because I was trying to get up there for ages. So here is another fairy point, so if you keep that in mind, that means that there's somewhere nearby where we can use a key fairy. Oh, I broke the pot with coins in it while I was stunned. Game! Thank you. He who possesses wisdom wields unlimited ultimate power, rather. When the two are in balance, power will be thine own. Art thou all-knowing? If thou deem thyself ready, proceed to balance the spirits. Here is another developer room. Again, we can't do anything there yet. Those invisible guys are really a pain, and they're no better when you can actually see them either. After thine ascension to the tower, a foothold lies in front of the goddess statues. To proceed right, seek that which flies to the right. To proceed left, seek that which flies to the left. Now it's time for us to go and climb a tower. Here he tells us about wall kicking, which is going to be vital if we want to get any progress. So this is why double jumping is mandatory at this point in the game. Personally, I like to jump up the left side where it's an easier foothold, even though I don't think it really matters. We need to kill this invisible guy, otherwise he'll keep knocking us. If we get knocked back, we'll fall all the way. There's a small opening in the wall. That will open up after an arbitrary amount of time, that I believe is completely random, or maybe it's like after 10 times you go up or something. Behold the Tower of the Goddess. This is where the mother's wishes are granted. To the left lies the secret power of life, to the right lies the power of destruction. Well, let's go get destruction. Those leaving this land remember this, we cannot grant the mother's wish. To which generation of the mother's children dost thou belong? The second child desires for the mother's wishes come true. So whoever wrote that is very pessimistic about the idea of sending the tower into the heavens. But the fact it's still here makes that seem a little bit more like it might be a fact. So these two statues are blocking exits, and there's also a statue being blocked beneath us as well. So what we do now, you might not have picked it up yet, is we need to head back to Mausoleum of the Giants. It will all make sense very soon. Because there was one puzzle here I didn't do at the time, but I did point it out. And that was, there was a certain statue that was pointing towards a wall. This statue, which was also mentioned as a statue that was someone pointing towards something. But it's not the wall they're pointing towards, it's the pot. We press down on the pot. Yeah, that's the thing. And now we head to the Spring of the Sky, because there's one more thing we have to do. And this one is actually not that obtuse, because it does spell it out for you, but I still took ages to get it. Because it seems like something I would have naturally done, but I didn't do it. First off, did I actually get the treasure chest that was in here? No, I never did. Well, let's get that. Yeah, there's a treasure chest here, by the way. Because if you remember, we saw some tablets that told us that the water of this place was powering the tower. We've been to the tower. It looks powered, but not quite powered enough. You see that guy who's looking to the left? Remember that it says he refuses to gaze upon it. We go through the right wall. I kicked myself so hard when I finally got that. That is so obtuse, and I love it. So now that we've done that, we could actually return to the Tower of the Goddess. And now, two mini-bosses have appeared, and we've missed them entirely. It's actually just quicker for us to jump down rather than deal with the stun lock. Okay. Oh, this tower. Enemies that knock you back and this tower are just... they do not go in hand very well. Right, the good news is, as long as you don't leave this area, they don't heal. So as long as we don't get knocked down again, we're fine. We got knocked down again. Yeah, this area takes a while for me. Well, I hate these invisible things so much. We have to wait until it fight. I was facing it with my shield out, but apparently I still got hit. That one I don't accept. That one was just being bullshit game. We'll just wait for it to come back down. Actually, no, we'll go up and fight it. So these two mini-bosses will continue to come up and down. And they might not seem like it, but they are mandatory to kill. There we go. Get game, please stop, game. Yeah, they count as platforms, so I guess that can happen. I don't understand why I get knocked back like that sometimes. Like, the knockback doesn't work as you think it should work. You know what, we're just going to use these spears. Annoying invisible guy again. And Medusa heads. Oh my god, there are so many Medusa heads. Where do they keep coming from? Oh, we need to get a shield out. We got knocked down again. Oh, this part of the game. we're just gonna go up here. There we go. And for my thanks, the game decided, well, my computer decided to lag out. Thanks, computer. So since we've activated the tower, we can now go to the left over here. Oh, before we go anywhere, we're first off going to activate this dais that's just appeared behind this broken head. And this is the third philosopher. We can't do anything here yet. So if you didn't have enough of that annoying boss, we now have to deal with the fact we now need a key fairy. Oh wow, we actually got it on the second try. I am so impressed. So now we're going to jump straight back up here with the key fairy in hand and go to this room. And this will unlock us another treasure. A Sporder, and I'll show you exactly what that does here. It gives us a little holy energy thing on our attack. It enhances your weapon, leaving a trail of holy energy with each swing. I don't believe this weapon is mandatory in the slightest, but it looks pretty. So, as a result, I say it's mandatory. In hindsight, I probably could have got the key later, and when I had to go back up there again, but I decided to anyway. I will give one bit of advice for this bit, and that is to get very used to this running up and down and warping here. Because this area requires a lot of attention the further we get into the game. So now there's water going up this pipe, and since we have the anchor, we can go against the current. So we can swim all the way up. Getting out of the water sometimes can be really annoying, especially when you're having to deal with enemies. There we go. And now let's activate that. Challenge the Chamber of Birth, clutch the golden key, and pass through the place where we were born. Oh yeah, I probably should mention while we solve this little puzzle. But I did previously mention that there was another entrance to this location, and I'll show it later. It's a back door that you can actually access, I believe without killing any bosses in the game. But you can't make any progress without double jump, so you need to at least kill the first boss. And the second boss. The Eye of Truth. So now we can see those annoying enemies over there. We can't read that yet. So since we could see them, if we go up here, and after killing those mini-bosses, we can now see two platforms have appeared. And if we jump on them all the way down, we get a sound effect that indicates we've done something. And there's another one over here. And now both have been activated. Which gives us access to this treasure that just appeared down here. Which gives us the plane model. So it's a gold airplane model. The power will cause statues of the goddess of deceit to disappear. And here's the Eye of Truth that we picked up that makes things not visible. As you can see, we're doing very good on the items. We're just missing the waterproof case I forgot to buy, and only 5 other items in the game are passive. So we're making a lot of good progress. So now these statues will disappear. And this one gives us access to the Gate of Illusion. Oh, I forgot to, I wanted to jump in here. Oh, we can't read it anyway, never mind. And here is the area we were previously in, where the sacrifices were taking place. This is a very ominous looking room. The Tree of Life resembles the Seraphot, a diagram of the Tree of Life from the Old Testament. I am a stray fairy who has been ordered to protect the secret of life. I have been protecting it ever since the day it was decided that no more life shall be created. My guest, has the day come to create life again? You who possesses vast wisdom and courage should know. You should be able to see what I cannot. Please free me from the secret of life. Before we do anything, we're quickly going to go over here and hit this hand, and that activates a little shortcut here so we can get back here easier. And now we have these three to look at. The grieving bird cast a spell without the mother's knowledge, so the mistakes would not be repeated, and the cycle of sadness would end. The large bird cast a spell. Should the bird die, the spell shall break, and the pillar of light shall disappear. I leave this behind and pass it down, in the same state of mind as the bird with the face. The wandering lizard shall cast off the light. Unable to bear it, he cast it off. The light he cast off was the light of his spirit. Lamenting his ugly appearance, he cast it off. When the light returns to the lizard, the pillar of light will disappear. I leave this behind and pass it down, because I understand how the lizard felt. The shining pillars of a child's feelings, the glowing feelings of a dancing child. The reason that the feelings shine lies in a very strange treasure, a wonderful treasure that is weak yet unbinding. If this treasure disappears, if everything disappears all at once, the child will be saddened, and its spirit will cloud over. I leave this behind and pass it down to preserve the child's spirit. So that's a series of puzzles that we're going to do in the next part. So thinking of it, I probably should have... where is the correct teleport point? The Tower of the Goddess, that's the one. I probably should have read them in the next part, but you know, I felt like reading them now. Where we actually want to go is here. Whoa. And that statue tries to kill us with its shield. It doesn't actually do that much damage, so I probably should have been hit by it, but never mind. Now we return to the graveyard of the giants. There is a cursed treasure hidden in the ruins. The curse will be cast on anyone who laid their hands on it. Take the red stone in hand and dispel the curse. So most of these tablets that we've been reading throughout the game have been very cryptic, and you probably haven't known what most of them meant. But the more progress we make, the more clear they all become. Like that was talking about the red jewel that we got from Zelpud. Restored with a weapon-wielding goddess, it is hidden beyond the goddess's gaze. Make thy way there with a small key in hand. There's a hint to use the fairy key. Oh, I jumped down here too early. So we haven't seen this location yet, but it's actually to the right of the where the elevator was. I never came this way because it would have just been sealed off from us. So up here we need to whip that thing to get out of the way. Since this is now free, we put down the weight. And this one's a little bit tricky. We have to put down the weight on the very first frame that we stand on it. There we go, we finally got it. Teleported directly on top of me. That's a bit unfair. Oh yeah, you can't read that. I think I may have examined that already, but I saw that it was glowing, so I went back to it. So this is just a little bit of busy work. We just have to go back and forth until we have fully unlocked this. But it's very worth it. I just hope we have enough health to take on the mini-boss. I think we do. But then again, it's me we're talking about, so, you know. Especially since I decided jumping out of those spikes would be a good idea. Take your new weapon in hand and take down the wall that blocks my way. It's getting claustrophobic here. When we were building the tower, we decorated it with statues of goddesses, although someone made one copper statue in a different shape. If I remember correctly, that person was good at using weapons. It is said he hid a treasure that could power up weapons. And he thinks it's cramped in here. I believe that's also talking about the scroll that we picked up. So up here, there's another new weapon for us. So we're just going to abuse the fact that we can jump out of the... Oh, we can't really attack it from down there. There we go, we can attack it here. There we go. We were just abusing the fact that we can cancel the slide animation by jumping. And here we get the bomb. So the bomb is the final main sub-weapon of the game. We are missing the pistol, which is between those two, and the actual that goes beneath the bombs. Explosions! It's me, it's an explosion. Got a hold of a bomb. These are a little bit tricky to use, but as you can see there, they can break walls that we couldn't ordinarily break. They're a little bit iffy to use though, and you only start off with 5 of them. And we want to use one here, but it might take all 4 of the ones that are left, because this is a very finicky thing to hit. But you need to try and hit this block that you can see is covering something. Oh, we did it on the first try. That was good. So that is another one of those morals. So let's scan it. And our laptop gets overridden by some new software, the Anger Musica. So this basically just allows us to play music from the game. Oh, I forgot to put move and death back on, so I was missing some extra invulnerability frames. That was a bit silly. So now that we got those bombs, we'll be able to go back to previous area. I'm just thinking, do we still want to make progress now? I don't believe we do. I think we should just head back. Yeah, let's just head back. The reason why I was debating that... Where's the other side of the Twin Labyrinths? There it is. The reason I was debating whether to continue or not is because we can go to another new area we haven't been to yet. But there isn't any puzzles there that are actually useful in terms of something we mandatorily need to do. Right, so we don't want to go there. If we activate this door and swap the dungeon around, now if we go here, we have a new area. You can see there's an Eye of Divine Retribution up there. No match found. A statue in the shape of a dolphin. The design does not match any known civilization. I could show you that the Divine Retribution will strike us if we went up to the top like that, if we tried double jumping up, but I won't show it because we might die. Those who created this contraption are fools. They mistakenly created a puzzle that could not be solved, but after all this time it has been rewritten. Those who fail to solve the puzzle shall be punished. So there is no way to solve this puzzle, because there's no way to get back down here. But we have bombs, which destroys that wall. And here, there is a fake ground, which allows us to finish pushing this. And now the eye is gone, so we can go up here. And I believe we have enough money, yes we do, to buy the Lamp of Time. It can stop time. That's very useful. We're just going to buy all the chakrams we can, because I'm probably going to fail the puzzle that needs them. Don't play pranks, okay? With a lamp of time. So now, if we stand in front of these statues, we've seen a few of throughout the game, but I've never mentioned them. That will give us the ability to stop time. It's a one-use item that we need to replenish every time we want to use it again. But now that we have that item, we'll be able to use it to beat a mini-boss easily. It is possible to beat the mini-boss without it, but I would not recommend it. It's possible to get an achievement, and I did it by wasting about 100 flares on the guy. It wasn't really worth doing. So here, we get the Lamp of Time out. And we wait for him to try and stop time. I was too late. We are so gonna die. I quickly, better go back and heal. The thing I completely failed to do then was to stop time the same moment he did. When he sent out that ring of time energy, we need to cast it ourselves, but I wasn't expecting him to do it at that second. If we try and do it at any other time, he won't be stopped by it. Alright, that's enough health. We don't need to fully heal because there's actually going to be a health upgrade soon, so that'll do it for us. We just need enough health so we don't die to that thing. Oh, I didn't examine this. Let's make sure that we have the hand scanner equipped and not the time stopper. There is a god that controls death. There is a god that absorbs life. The words that seal the powers were entrusted to an innocent girl. That's a hint about going to Malbrook, who we haven't actually spoken to her for a very long time, to get the Book of the Dead. There we go. And it's dead, because we can't damage it anymore. This is a very difficult fight unless you cheese it like that, which is why there's an achievement for it. So since this place is mirrored, there's a puzzle there, just like what's on the other side, for a sacred orb. We're getting very close to maximum health now. So remember that we left that witch alive on the other room. If we didn't do that, then we wouldn't be able to solve this puzzle. So now if we kill her, we summon the Ankh. But we don't have the actual jewel yet to go in there. That one is hidden on the other side of a labyrinth. So since we shot flares into both of those statues, we should now be able to go and get some treasure from the statues. This one has the treasure chest on it, so we need to go to the other one. But while we're here, we may as well go and pick up the samurai sword that we unlocked. I was concerned then, because I thought that was supposed to be the screen, but no, this is... There you go, the katana. So that's all the weapons of the game, and we're only missing the gun because I keep forgetting to buy it. So we're fully souped up as far as weapons go. Let's see if we can get to the other statue from this direction. The problem is this place is really annoying to get around. So let's have a look at the map. It would be a lot easier to just walk there. So this should take... No, wait, that doesn't take us down. We need to go one tile over. Here it is. Nope, that's not it. Oh well, it gives us another item anyway, which is the ring. We're not really going to use this, but it allows us better at throwing our weapons, which is for the ammunition-based things, but we haven't been using them on the boss fights, so we really don't need it. It is worth mentioning that I could have used a secondary weapon on all the boss fights we fought so far, but I haven't been doing it. Oh, there's something we can look at down there. The reason I haven't been doing it is because there's actually achievements for beating the game without doing so. Chant a spell at the spirit who holds the secret elixir that gives shape to the spirit. Man, you wouldn't think that some frame drops would make it as bad as it does. The computer seems to be behaving itself again now. On that note, I found that the file sizes of these files are ridiculous. I really need to replace Fraps. Fraps is a terrible software that takes up way too much space. We're talking over 100 gigabytes for each video, which is making me question whether I can actually do a full speedrun or not. And there we get the Actual. So now it's time for us to collect ourselves a healing fairy to give us max health, and go and fight the boss fight. And then we'll call it a video because we've been going for quite a while now. And that's the general rule of the game so far, is a boss fight per video. It's worth noting that this boss we're going to now go and face is actually the next boss if we were to go in a linear fashion. But personally, I don't think that makes any sense whatsoever, because we haven't done a single thing to open up the next boss yet. There we go, healing fairy. Because Palanquin, which is one that's supposed to come next, well, it's supposed to come in this video, takes an entire other area that you can only access after doing this area to go to. So if you thought we'd been to a lot of new areas as it is, there's still one more area we haven't been to yet. So now it's time for us to go and take on one of my favourite bosses of the game, Baphomet, or Baphomet, whatever her name is. We're going to make sure we have our software equipped, we do. I find that there's really no point to try and avoid her in this phase, we just want to do as much damage as possible. There we go. Then in this phase, she turns into some sort of Power Rangers boss. He starts teleporting around and summoning ads. So first off, we need to kill the ads so they don't interrupt us. Luckily she's staying still at the moment, so this is a prime time to attack her. Staying attackable quite a lot, which is handy for us. I'm not showing much skill at the moment by taking all these hits to the face, but she keeps showing up in areas I can actually attack her, so I'm just going for it. There we go. Usually that boss fight is a lot more intense, because it requires, because she keeps going too high to attack, and then you have to dodge her attacks while she summons more enemies to kill. But she was very helpful then. And yeah, you can get killed by that final attack where everything burns. So we obliterated Baphomet, but the adventure continues. So, that's another adventure into the ruins solved, and we are only two more bosses left. Let's look at art items. So we've collected all the sub-weapons, we've got all the main weapons, we got most of the usable items, we need one more seal, and we've got most of the passive items of the game. So when we come back, we're going to go and start reviving the philosophers, and we're going to enter the Chamber of the Endless for real. Chamber of the Endless, I mean the Chamber of Extinction for real, by going to its alternate area, the Chamber of Birth. So, until next time, be lovely to each other.